welcome to K's World NYC. I'm your host Kay, where no topic is off topic. And today I have very creative young man, Jidobi Chime.
You almost got it, yeah.
Chime.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about that. So Chime is, let the people know before we started rolling, you said it's Nigerian?
Yes. Well, my name is like Igbo, which is within, it's like a tribe within Nigeria. Mm. Yeah, and the name Jidobi is Igbo. So to just be more specific, like, you know, there are different, like, you know, ethnic groups, and all of them have their own fair share of like names behind that. Yeah.
Okay. No, it's almost, it sounds very creative. It's almost like you were born to do what you're doing. Being a creative, because that name rings like someone from the movies, a name that you see rolling up in credits.
I appreciate that.
So you're definitely a multimedia storyteller.
Yes.
You've produced and directed short films. Mm-hmm. How did you get involved in that field? What brought you to fall in love in that field?
Well, when it comes to that, it kind of started when I was in high school in Nigeria. I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay. And
I was just interested in that type of world. And then I came back here to the States. I was kind of put in like this journalism program, and it was pretty chill. You know, I had a chance to really unravel and understand like that field and everything that goes into it. But then through that one program, the same person who connected me to that one was like, yo, this documentary program just opened up. And like, you know, media is media. You know, this is kind of still the same ballpark. And I was like, ooh, like documentary. I was already kind of a little bit, you know, intrigued about like just the different aspects of media. We kind of covered that in like the journalism program, just film media and whatnot. So I was like, okay, like I guess this is right up my alley. And I kid you not, like from that documentary program, I never looked back at journalism respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Like from that documentary program, Mazel's Documentary Center in Harlem, any of y'all, you know, who are interested, it's on 127th and Lenox Ave. But they taught me just the rooted foregrounds of filmmaking, you know, and how to shoot and whatnot. And I just got, you know, recommendations to other film programs after that, like narrative. And then from there, it was clip. Basic for the film part, yeah.
For the film part, which I think journalism can go hand in hand because it teaches you how to write.
Yes, like very intense when it comes to just language and dialogue building through like building a narrative. It's all storytelling in general. Like human beings storytell every day. Like
exactly, yes.
Every day.
And when I met you, I felt like you had a story. We bonded. Mm-hmm. In our neighborhood locally, but I was like, he has a story. I was like, he's a good young guy. Like you seem like, I was like, so every time I met up with you or bumped into you, it was like I wanted to say hello because I really felt like you do have like a deep story.
I was born and raised in Harlem.
Oh, in Harlem.
Yeah, okay. And then I went to high school in Nigeria.
Oh, you went to high school in Nigeria. How was that? The other way around.
It was very like severe culture shock, but it was something that was like jarring on both ends, because even coming back here, like to what the West had kind of turned into within my absence, mm-hmm. was like, whoa, like I was not ready for this. Like I was not. And then I was 16 when I graduated, so I was younger than everyone in community college.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
So I just felt a little, it was just like really jarring. Like I just didn't, and boarding school had actually turned me into a very like timid, kind of low self-esteem type of person. Mm-hmm. It's very like rigorous, just a religious influence and like the military oriented way of doing things. Like I was on a schedule around the clock 24/7.
You know, it's fascinating because your visual short videos, which I love because they're black and white, and I love black and white, either photos or videos.
Yeah.
You do mention in a lot of your lyrics very personal things, from what you think about filmmaking school. You got really personal with that. You touched on, Nigerian culture and how people viewed you. So do you think that even helps you be even more creative in your art?
Yeah,
Taking your personal experiences?
Yeah, it's made me just a way more intentional artist, which is what we were kind of talking about a little bit when I, first got here. But yeah, it drastically just changed how I see life, pursuing it this way. I've just become a way more intentional communicator, kind of doing it this way. When I first came back here, I was very shy, very timid. I was very gullible, but I was also someone who talked a lot. I was a very impulsive type of talker. So yeah, that would that would kind of play out in different ways depending on the environment. But when it came to film school, it was definitely, I definitely learned just the validity in being a more intentional communicator, and finding value in my voice through stuff like that.
No, yeah, it's definitely, your lyrics are very personal, and also the visual is very personal.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to show some clips with that.
Sure.
It's very it draws me to what I'm looking at. It's like artwork.
Yeah.
But artwork in motion, and it's so interesting to see you. There's times where you're blindfolded. So what's the symbol on that?
Yeah. So this is an art exploration piece that I'm working on called Man of Many Quilts, and it's based on my Instagram. I'm basically on phase 1 right now, but that person, you kind of, there's a deep dive into who that person is, and just the dynamic that this person and myself have. There's a film at the end of the final phase of the exploration. Just to throw it out there, there are 2 phases, but we're on the first one right now. But on the second one, there's a conventional short film that kind of is an alternative change when you look at all the experimental visual storytelling that I've done in phase 1. This is the narrative short film component, the strictly linear type of narrative. And that is where you really get a deep understanding of the dynamic between me and that blindfolded person.
Do you feel like that's your way of, it's almost therapeutic to vent on your art with the lyrics, just to get personal? It's like a visual, it's like you're sharing your personal journal with us.
Yeah.
Which I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you see it like that?
I do.
It's therapeutic.
I see it in a very barefoot kind of frame of thinking, which was the style that I was going for from the beginning, really keying in on that. I just felt it in just how I was living. I became a very minimalistic person when I started living on my own, because I was spending less money. I was, earning less money, It just gave me a chance to just look at just the different people I've been. The phases. Because I moved out in the summer of 2022, which marked my 5-year anniversary of being back in this country.
Okay.
So it was a very I moved out July 1st of 2022, and I came back to the States July 10th, 2017. So it was so closely, yeah.
And I also enjoy, he has this, a shout out to my producer, Super Dave Media, behind the cameras. I also love the videos you have that are silent, and it's just captions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's just it's done very classy, but at the same time, you're storytelling.
Yeah.
So you have all these visuals, all these pictures and movement, but you just have to read, and it's almost like I want to see more of it. I want it longer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Like it took a minute to really understand how to even do that, like, and exactly what I'm trying to communicate, like, with each one. I kind of see it as like a palette, storytelling. Like, I have different ways to communicate, basically. And
I mean, in art, there's so many different ways to communicate.
And to just like kind of play around and understand what could be reinforced through this way and through that way is very fun. Like, it is very therapeutic, and it does kind of combat some of like the paranoia I've kind of faced while doing it.
It's like a cheap way of doing therapy.
Yeah, like, like living,
inexpensive way.
Yeah, like living how I'm living, like alone, like not really close with many friends and family. And
you just lay it out all there, and your heart, everything.
Yeah,
because I see it. I mean,
it's
I feel
scary. Yeah, like all of those things about like self-doubt, imposter syndrome, like blatant, just like intrusive thoughts, like all of those things are very real. All of those things are like very reality bending, especially if you only have yourself to like, there isn't really someone there to
be your own cheerleader, basically. And which is a lot. It happens in life. Sometimes I think I'm my own cheerleader, but I always want to show up for me. It's important to always show up for you, no matter if no one does.
Yeah,
that's like one advice that I was told once, and I try my best to follow it, but
it does. There's a lot of just growing pains of like that.
So you did an interesting piece in filming. It was like about 5 years ago on New York City climate change.
Yeah.
It was very inspiring.
I'm dead. You did so much research. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Cause like, I'm looking at your notes and I'm remembering.
That's why I was gonna kill you if you didn't show up.
I'm like, like, I'm remembering all these things. I'm like,
you've done a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. So what made you? First of all, let's name the organization you did with the climate change.
Yeah,
it was very inspiring.
MNN, yeah. MNN.
MNN.
Yeah, okay. Manhattan National Network. Yeah, they're in Harlem too, Spanish Harlem. Anybody from Spanish Harlem, 103rd, forgot that avenue. But it should be like Lexington.
Yeah, Barrio.
Oh, whew.
Barrio.
Isa,
Barrio.
Yeah, I feel like I see Harlem in 3, divided into 3.
Yeah.
Like, East Harlem, Central Harlem, like that's 7th Lenox Ave and like the Hill.
So it was just one organization, or you did various organizations regarding climate change?
Well, when it came to that specific climate change thing, it was just that organization.
Okay.
And it was basically just, like they just had us do that. There were people in our group. We just got some like nifty interviews. Just found, I guess, like a perspective on it. And yeah, like, to be honest, when it comes to those ones, I just remember that was like in 2018. MNN I had gotten into MNN right after Maisels, and I was still in Maisels as I was in MNN because they're different days of the week. So I was like, okay, we could do this.
And you was the voice over it.
Yeah.
You narrated. I mean, it was very professionally done. I actually got educated watching it. I think it's very educational. And it is a topic that's, until this day, there's a lot of issues with climate change. What surprised you? What you learned from that project regarding climate change?
Climate change, I think
that you thought you knew, but you didn't.
I guess just like how much, like the city and its just infrastructure and how a lot of systems work, like just the bus system, like when it comes to like trash. And how, garbage is handled.
Pollution.
Like all that compost stuff, like how all of that really like plays a role. And I think in a lot of like the climate change research I did, it was also aligned with just the geographical like inefficiencies of New York City and how that plays a role with all this smoke and all this extra compost in the air and everything. Like a lot of what I found out was like how the problem of climate change affects a place so close together like New York with so many people, yet it's so closed in. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. But it was fun.
So, tell us about Gallery, a film you did in 2020.
Memory Lane.
Yes.
Oh my God! Like this version of me is so like not necessarily behind me. Like I took a lot from like this person who was like doing film in this way.
Yeah.
That COVID had just come, and I had met with some filmmakers right before lockdown started. So
it was in Naya and Lola.
And yeah, like we had met right before lockdown, and then lockdown happened, and then we were just like, okay, like, I mean, we were already getting the ball rolling on stuff that we wanted to, shoot, and then this lockdown thing happened, but we could still maybe figure something out,
Which I know is torture for creators.
Yo, we don't speak on when COVID like, I mean, there were many pillars of industries and of just the entertain that just didn't know what to do. Like film, like, can I curse on here?
Of course, yes.
Like niggas was out here doing table reads on Zoom and posting that on the internet. It was a weird and strange time. We had Morgan Freeman on Zoom reading a script. Like that was I did not expect to see. I just did, you know what I'm saying? Like it, but yo, like
we
storytelling saved us mentally in those times, though, spiritually, mentally, internally.
Yeah, it definitely was a tough time. It definitely is that. Now I have to ask you something.
What's up?
What did you have a song called Sauced?
Still Sauced?
Still Sauced.
Oh, it's called Getting Buckets.
Getting Buckets?
Yeah, the caption was still sauced. Like, yeah, like I put a caption, then put like the art expiration name, artist, even though it's me, I just put just for more professional, like and then like it's the caption and then just those heading things on every post. Like, so any caption you've seen, that is not the name of the song. If you look further down, you'll see song name. Okay. And then
I stand correct. I probably did, but I overlooked.
Yeah, you did.
So what's the song about?
Getting Buckets. So
Getting Buckets.
Yeah, like I guess it was just me like reflecting on isolation, my current isolation, and just relaying it back to the fact that like I've felt this before, in a different place, and relaying that to the experience I've had in film school, wishing to be back in boarding school, like just conquering just different aspects of like isolation and what it means, having my formative years split in half in these two places. And like just expressing how familiar certain feelings are from how I felt in film school to boarding school, and like understanding what's familiar and understanding what's completely different.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like something familiar ain't in the space, something particular can't be erased. Like that's kind of like an oxymoron when you look at both of those lines, even though oxymorons are usually like two words that contradict. But yeah, like there were things that felt familiar, and there were things that I know I can never get from a place like film school compared to boarding school.
So fast forward, what are we working on now? Any new projects coming up?
Well, Many Many Quotes, which is the art expiration, is what that song belonged to. And just like working on that, like I put something out this week, like just another mini video announcement.
Yeah, so
yeah, where like I basically have one more song that I'm putting out before I release the movie for phase 1, which is like a more experimental, piece of work before I enter phase 2.
Just a curiosity, so we're gonna get to the fun questions. Do you have any other talent? Do you paint? Do you any hidden talent that maybe your followers don't know about?
I guess like I'm pretty. All aspects of storytelling I kind of do. Like I'm also very funny. I'm hilarious. Like I love talking. I really like acting too, but just my own stuff that I write. Like in this movie, like I'm in both of them. The movies for phase 1 and for phase 2. Like but through that I've really enjoyed acting. Like I could do a lot of stuff with my face. Like
you could.
Yeah, like yeah. People have commented in some of them. Like there was one where I think the camera was looking down at me and I was like frowning, but people were like, "Yo, that was a very intense face."
Yeah. So I mean, even your visuals are intense.
Yeah.
Because you have those strong features, and it's like it draws people in. Like I could see one of those black and whites on canvas. I actually do, especially the one that you were blindfolded. I think that would be a powerful art to hang up. That's what I saw when I looked at it.
There's actually going to be like I'm selling like a lot of the art for this direct to consumer when it comes out. So a lot of the music, how it's gonna come out is like I'm gonna be selling posters or prints of some of the photography with like QR codes on them where that leads you to where like the music and the movies are.
Oh, I'm gonna definitely keep in mind of that.
Yeah, it's something that you could like hang on your wall, like because a lot of people mess with the photos, like which I'm grateful for. So
it's very artsy, I'm telling you. I'll definitely keep me updated on that. See if I could get a print of one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So for your followers, if you weren't able to do film at all, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't able to
do film, no.
At all, I'd be rapping.
You'll be rapping. Okay. Interesting. Still in the entertainment business. That's just a passion.
Yeah, like I would still be storytelling if like film isn't the through line, like storytelling, is like it's like I would definitely still be storytelling if I wasn't a filmmaker.
So do you have any songs you've written? Some raps?
Right back to laughing, validation left me. Right back to acting, right back to masking. Despite all that happened, might lose my cool in this life. I feel fractioned. The ceiling got me tricked. No power in abundance, so the ceiling need to flip. Like it really don't exist. Only point is to restrict. Gatekeepers on my neck. There's no point to write a script. It's as funny as it gets, but gets even funnier than it is. I swear I can't submit, no way per se. Swear I can't admit the shame. Pillars of your thoughts in my brain. Tell them film industry niggas, Ellie and Jidobi coming straight at the door. I done took the kind out of my ear. It's hell, me and homie ain't trying to act no more. Yeah.
Okay, there's a little something in you. I had to put you on a spot.
I feel like you're getting to music though. The music like very harmony. Colors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I could bar out, but I also like melodies too. Yeah.
I have to put you on a spot. So, you enjoying your summer so far?
Enjoying my summer?
Yeah.
I've literally not really done much this summer except this. Like, I've gone to the studio a few times. Like, I'm in between jobs to 9 to 5s. I do. Yeah, like I go to the studio. I still go to like my art residency that I finished up in May. They still allow me to use the office, which gives me the chance to
that's nice.
Complete some of this stuff. Yeah, like, or if I'm not there, like I might go to like the Brooklyn Library, the Central Brooklyn Library. They have free Adobe Cloud, y'all. Anybody who is also a creative who watches this, the Brooklyn Library has free Adobe Cloud. You don't even need a library card. You could print out a guest pass. They are so helpful. They have they have working Macs. Like it's fire. Like, yeah. So
where do you, 5 years from now, do you feel like, even though I always think that's a stupid question, but some people actually have a visual of how much they would love to accomplish 5 years from now. Where do you see yourself?
I'm not even...
Getting awards for short films?
Probably like I kind of just want to like build this community when it comes to like, you know, the art that I'm making, and I don't want to just like sell people stuff. Like I'm gonna really start like entering these spaces that I'm building and constructing dialogue based on these things that I know Nigerian kids of the diaspora have just been through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that's really the work that I'm fucking like excited for, like to get to meet like other Nigerian Americans through this, which is something I've already kind of been doing as it's been coming out. You know, people have been tapping in, like Nigerians from back home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm specifically from Enugu State, Nigeria, 042. And yeah, like that's a predominantly Igbo state, and all these things that I'm talking about, like the Enugu hip hop scene, specifically the Enugu hip hop scene, is something that's really bubbling beneath the surface, you know, as it stands next to like Afro beats, which is something that's basically global at this point.
Oh,
like,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Nigerian hip hop, like there's some spitters like in Enugu State right now.
I find that, I mean, the Afrobeats are taking over. I love it.
But if there were any types of Americans that I would say would survive in Nigeria, it would be people from New York. Like, not even like New York and just the daily life of Enugu State are so similar. So similar. There are places in Nigeria that are worse than New York, though. Like Lagos and Abuja. You know, very,
Basically, don't take a stroll at night.
Like, but if there was any types of people who I'd say have a chance, like, it's people from New York, 100%. People from New York.
I'm walking here.
Yeah, like, you know, but
We've overcome the lot. Yeah, we're tough. We overcome the lot.
Yeah, and just the everyday just Nigerian who's come to this country has overcome an extreme amount of just identity crisis, isolation, just depression. Like, I think those that do their whole secondary school process, junior secondary school process, and primary school process in Nigeria and then leave for university, I think from an identity standpoint, they may have it a little bit easier because there's just a thorough sense of self that I feel like that is more there. But to have to like figure out Harlem and then what? Like,
You look like it was
like in that order.
yeah. Especially when you weren't born and raised there.
I
just threw you in and you felt like it was just like swim.
I left New York the same week of my 8th grade graduation. Facts.
That was fast.
Facts. Like, I couldn't even spend that summer. Like, and the funny thing about 8th grade year was I really felt like I was coming more into my own when it comes to that identity of who I wanted to be. Like, you know, I went to middle school in Harlem. Like, you know how it is. Like, I feel like I was getting close to that. Close to like what my peers were like enabling me into, which was good and bad, you know?
Does it kind of feel like home though? Do you feel settled? Or you're
Here?
not? Yeah.
No.
Where are you emotionally?
That's a good question.
He's like,
He said what homes is. He said that.
Yeah. But does it? But you know how sometimes you feel welcome. Do you feel welcome?
I have to say, I feel like Enugu's home, but like Harlem is like home base in a sense.
Okay.
Like, cause like Enugu's not accessible to me right now. Like sitting right here, like, but another thing I want to do is I want to really try to help Nigerians in the diaspora. A lot of the propaganda that you're seeing now of what Nigeria is, what it means to be Nigerian, that doesn't have to be you. Like, in a lot of these songs that you've heard on my Instagram, I'm literally shouting out actual, like, local governments in Enugu. Like, places like GRA, Independence Layout. Any Nigerians any Enugu people who are, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, Nsukka, New Haven. Like, I'm talking about these, nobody could question the credibility. Like, you have to have become a day-to-day Nigerian to know what I'm talking about. You know, and you don't have to speak fluent Igbo, speak fluent broken English. You don't have to. Not every aestheticized aspect of being this thing called Nigerian, members of the diaspora have to actually grab onto. Like, some of it, you're just not gonna, till this day I still can't speak Igbo. But it's like, you're not gonna tell me, that
you're not who you are. Exactly.
Yeah, so it's also about like finding home within myself. Like, a lot of Nigerian propaganda doesn't look and sound the way that I do, which is completely fine.
Yes, you're still proud of, And one thing I know, because I have Nigerian friends, they're very proud of where they came from.
A lot, yeah.
They don't play with that.
My family and I are very similar, which is why I'm taking a break. As you can see, you were very we were very stand-up type of people.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love that. So I definitely appreciate you stopping by. This was so fun, educational.
Appreciate you having me. This is I love doing this for the community. I would not miss this. I'm Jidobi Chime. You're watching K's World NYC. It is definitely where it's at here.